Our mission is educating, empowering, and inspiring excellence. I'd like to call to order our Monday, June 25th, 2018 regular board meeting. We'll begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody. We do have our public comment forms over here by Dr. Alanez. If someone would like to address the board, just fill one of those forms out, return it to the board table. Please return it over here to Mr. Elwood. Just again, reminders of what can be discussed at the board table. There's no discussion on personnel issues or executive content. Each statement, each participant will be allowed 3 minutes. All statements must be directed to the presiding officer. No person may address or question board members individually, and personal attacks certainly are not permitted. Again, that is from our policy 0167-8. So again, if you want to fill a form out, return it to Mr. Elwood. We begin with agenda adjustments, or any adjustments to the agenda by the board. Okay, we'll move on to superintendent consent agenda. We have item 3.01 personnel report for June 2018, 3.02 donations for June 2018, claims report for June 2018, and facility use request reports. We have a motion to approve consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda. Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Call roll, please.
Ms. Nelson?
Yes.
Ms. Rosales?
Yes.
Mrs. Daly, yes. Mrs. Briscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Maleta?
Yes. Next, we have our board consent agenda, item 4.01, executive memorandum from May 29, 2018 executive session. 4.02 minutes of the May 28, 2018 regular board meeting. 4.03 minutes of the May 28, 2018 public work session. 4.04 executive memorandum of June 6, 2018 for executive session. 4.05 executive memorandum of June 12, 2018 executive session. 4.06 minutes from the June 13th, 2018 discussion meeting. And I think that's 2 minutes from the June 2018 public work session. Do we have a motion to approve?
Well, there's it's minutes of May 29th, 2018 is what I have.
What did I say?
28.
Oh, okay, yep.
Well, I think that-
corrected, May 29.
Now make a motion to approve the board consent agenda. Second.
We have a motion, a second, any discussion? Call roll, please.
Ms. Nelson?
Yes.
Ms. Rosales?
Yes.
Mrs. Daly, yes. Mrs. Briscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Maleta?
Yes. We'll move on to old business. We have our legislative committee, trustee Briscoe.
Yes, and we do have a report from the federal level, federal flash.
I missed my wheels. Dr. Allen.
But it's a chair that's not gonna tip you over.
Yes, sure.
There's a couple times. Got very close.
Updates on federal education funding and school education. Rob, give us the latest information.
Thanks, Philip. After the president beyond their control, the president issued an executive order to scale back, if not end the policy. The executive order states, quote, "It is
Welcome back to Federal Flash. I'm Philip Lovell and I'm joined by Robin Harper. Immigration once again tops our agenda for the Flash. We also have updates on federal education funding and career and technical education. Robin, give us the latest on immigration.
Thanks, Philip. After President Trump and other administration officials claimed that the horrifying policy of separating children from their parents was beyond their control, the president issued an executive order to scale back, if not end, the policy. The executive order states, quote, "It is also the policy of this administration to maintain family unity, including by detaining alien families together where appropriate and consistent with law and available resources," end quote. But this doesn't mean that the policy of holding families in detention together at the border will end. In fact, the order projects the continuation and potential expansion of this practice. Within the order, the President directs the Department of Defense to make available or construct facilities to hold families while court proceedings take place.
Noticeably absent from the order was any directive to the Department of Health and Human Services to support the health and well-being of these families while they're detained, or any mention of reunifying the families that have already been separated. Senator Patty Murray of Washington State, the leading Democrat on the committee that funds the Department of Health and Human Services, sent a letter to the HHS secretary asking for details on the situation, saying, quote, "The horrific reports I have seen regarding the federal government's treatment of children in custody make it frighteningly clear the department and the Trump administration as a whole have absolutely no concern for the well-being of thousands of children and parents when they have caused great pain and continued trauma." Her letter is available at the link below.
And we can't forget the other immigration crisis created by this White House, DACA. The House planned to consider two different approaches. One focused on enforcement, led by Congressman Bob Goodlatte, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, and another led by Speaker of the House Paul Ryan, that also focuses on enforcement while providing some DACA recipients with the opportunity to gain legal status, while falling far short of the bipartisan DREAM Act.
The Goodlatte proposal failed with a vote of 193 to 231. No Democrats supported it, and 41 Republicans opposed it as well. In the process, the Goodlatte proposal killed the discharge petition we discussed previously. House leaders have postponed a vote on the Ryan proposal, and President Trump is calling for a delay until after the election. Stay tuned.
In other news, the House and Senate Appropriations Committees are working on legislation to fund the federal government, hoping to avoid embarrassing debates and stopgap measures this fall as we close in on a tense election. The House subcommittee responsible for funding the Department of Education voted on its bill. It will come before the full committee next week. The Senate subcommittee is expected to vote on its bill next week as well.
Thanks, Robin. In addition to action on federal education funding, Congress is also planning to move next week on the reauthorization of the Carl D. Perkins Career and Technical Education Act. The Senate postponed the committee vote originally scheduled for this week. Chairman Lamar Alexander and Ranking Member Patty Murray said in a joint statement, quote, "Our goal is bipartisan agreement on the Perkins Career and Technical Education Act, and we're making significant progress toward that goal."
Finally, the Trump administration is proposing a reorganization of the federal government, including a merger of the Department of Labor and the Department of Education. This would require congressional approval, and Congress hasn't been thrilled with some of the internal reorganization proposed within the Department of Education, so this more substantial move faces an uphill climb. The full proposal is available at the link below. We'll keep you posted.
That's all for today. For an email alert when the next episode of Federal Flash is available, email us at alliance@allfored.org. Thanks for watching.
So as you can see at the federal level, there's always something seems to be going on, but the big thing I think everybody can take out of there is the fact that if the Department of Education and the Department of Labor merges, what does that do for public education and higher education also? So more to come, as he said. See what happens. And then also I needed to report out, even though it's not a legislative item, however, it is a court decision that I think is important for everybody to understand, is that the Indiana Supreme Court, and there's also other courts across the nation have been, Indiana's kind of followed suit with other courts across the nation with this. It concerns Miranda rights in students for self-incrimination. So the law states specifically that students must be told about rights to remain silent when questioned by police. So I am assuming then that we will be getting a policy from the Indiana School Board Association to pass on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to new business. We have item 6.01, the acceptance of the spring 2018 Common School Loan Technology Advancement Award.
I make a motion to approve the spring 2018 Common School Advancement Loan.
motion and a second, any discussion? We'll call roll, please.
Ms. Nelson?
Yes.
Ms. Nesbit?
Yes.
Mrs. Bailey, yes. Mrs. Driscoll?
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn?
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to superintendent comments. Dr. Ellis.
I have several comments for you. As the board's aware, I was off at ISTE today for professional development with Dr. Stevens. We are overseeing that concept of innovation, in particular with Goal 1 and Goal 3 of the strategic plan. And just as a reference, ISTE stands for the International Society for Technology and Education. I always forget that because it's one of those different ones. But it's been a very exciting day, and we're back there again tomorrow. I did share an email with the board that I want to mention. We received from Mr. Groth with the Career Center the total of all the dual credit courses, and of the 10 school districts that are a part of our dual credit programs with CTE, Portage received over a quarter of those dual credits. To give you some perspective, we received our students earned 1,118 dual credits, and those coming behind us were Valpo with 738 and Chesterton with 597. So our kids really did a fantastic job. A few other items for you regarding the monitors in the boardroom. The reason you're not gonna need wheels any longer is because we're gonna be adding a few monitors to see this way and then also up here, so that it's better. We can always keep the agenda on one, and then, if we have a federal flash over here and vice versa with this direction as well. We're gonna be repurposing some monitors, so I think that will be a great addition. And then this behind us for the purpose of our board meetings won't be necessary, so we don't have to duck down.
Thank you.
Also.
Took away my wheels, so.
Yes, yeah, there you go. As you're aware, June 21st was our first mobile market. That took place at Willow Creek Middle School, and it was very well received. We're going to continue that. The signups for July have already just exploded. We need about 15 volunteers each time, and we're getting way more than that. So I anticipate being able to expand that beyond the one time a month. And again, that feeds up to 300 families. So it's pretty phenomenal.
How many do we have this?
I was gonna check that total, because I know Mr. Holmes was keeping track of that for us. A few other items really quickly. We are gonna be taking to our upcoming partnership meeting with the city and also the township, our community resource reference guide. So I'm gonna be sending that to you in the board update this week. I'd like to share it over time with them, as well as our attendance toolkit that Mrs. Sandra Porter Phillips and her team have developed based on best practices throughout the nation, and in particular, Ohio's toolkit was very helpful. And then the ambassadors program that's going to be launching, and our volunteer program, our volunteer training. So good things going on over the summer, and a lot to be proud of.
Very good, thank you. Anybody have any questions? Very good, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item 8.01. Items not on the agenda. Don't have anything. So we'll move on to public comment forms. Mr. Elwood?
We did receive one public comment form. Unfortunately, it is the subject of a personnel matter. We cannot allow personal files.
Okay, thank you. Upcoming board meetings. Beginning in July, our meetings will now take place on Mondays, exclusively, with exceptions, obviously, from time to time, at 5 p.m. We did have a request for our July 9th meeting, time to be changed from 5 p.m. to 4 p.m. So if everybody's okay with that, we can make that change. And then, again, we have a board meeting on July 23rd, also at 5 p.m. Does anybody have anything else before we adjourn? If not, thank you for being here. Meeting adjourned. 4 p.m.